So how many miles was the drive down?
About 400.
Fucking hell, really.
But
I'm flabbergasted you can't find anybody nearer.
do you know what? There are people, but no one really works on Carb bikes anymore.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And it's just, there was no one that I could think, yeah, I'll take it to him.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mind. I like a road trip.
Yeah, no, fair play. You're smack bang in the middle there.
Sweet. Yeah, this van's higher than my last one, so I'm always twitchy.
Yeah, no, fair do. I understand. Nothing worse than somebody else trying to help you though and pulling the bike out of your hands.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a clean one.
It's my pride and joy. Because I had one when I was 21.
Yeah.
Always wanted another one, and this came up for reasonable money.
You know, that is a peach, isn't it?
Yeah, when I got it, I had 10,000 miles on it, so I've put about one and a bit on it.
Go from the beginning then.
So basically, last year when I got it, it was absolutely fine. Just serviced it because it'd been sitting a long time. I did a track day on it, did about 1,000 road miles, ran it dry because I brought it into the house for the winter, so I ran it dry of fuel. And when I got it back out in, must have been March time, filled it with fuel, fired it up, and the carbs were leaking.
Okay.
You know the little pipes that join the carbs?
Yeah.
So
the distribution pipe along the back? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I stripped the carbs.
Quite a common thing.
Ordered genuine ones, even though they were fucking expensive. But I thought,
yeah, they're like £5 each, those things, aren't they? Yeah.
So fitted them all, that was fine. Put it all back together, no leaks, perfect. Fired it up. I needed to balance them actually, because when I took them apart, the springs flew out.
And you just the act of taking them off and putting them back on is enough to send them out anyway. So the fact that you'd split the bodies meant that they were going to be miles out. Yeah.
So I got myself a carb balancer, which I'd never done before. Balanced them up, sweet as a nut. Actually didn't take much adjustment. And my first ride, took it out and it was beautiful. And as soon as I gave it some, got to about 6 or 7, it just bogs and is horrible.
Will it rev through it eventually or not?
Yeah, you can make it go. Okay. And it will get to the red line.
Does it protest the whole way?
Yeah, it's just horrible. As soon as it's like, and even, to be fair, even firing it up and revving it as a standstill, it's like down low, it's like boom, boom. And as soon as you get above that, it's like, it's like it's just not wanting to rev. So carbs back off. So I thought it must be some gunk or something in the carbs.
Yeah.
Got a rebuild kit. I've actually got all the bits that I've done just in case. Convinced myself it was the fuel pump, fitted a brand new fuel pump.
They were Keister kits, or they're the ones you
used?
Yeah, so the best of a bad bunch, really.
I mean, it didn't come with new jets or anything, it was just literally the seals
float needle valve and gasket,
convinced myself it was the fuel pump, bought a brand new genuine fuel pump, fitted that.
Okay, well that wasn't cheap.
No, it was 300 and odd quid.
Okay.
I removed the little tank filter thing, cleaned all that out. I mean, it was mint, there was nothing wrong with it. Took all the fuel lines off, cleaned them out. I ordered new, second-hand coils. Okay. Because then I thought maybe it's the coils.
Yeah.
Replaced them, exact same issue. Thought maybe it's the X-up, so I wired the X-up open, even though it's free and moving, just to see if it still did it. And even with it wired open, it was exact same. But one thing I will say is I don't think the X-up valve's working properly, because rather than just opening smoothly, it's like this when you rev it.
No, that's normal. They don't just open. They do. Yeah, it doesn't behave quite how you think it would. If you watch the servo, it's not like nice smooth opening shut. It does.
Oh, I thought that was a fault, because it kind of at one point it goes back a bit and then.
I'll have a look.
Right,
but
I don't think it's that anyway.
They're not quite as smooth as you'd think they would be, but that wouldn't cause you like you say.
Well, I mean, like I said, I wired it open and it was the exact same. Yeah. So I just can't think what it can be, because usually if it's a carb issue, it's kind of low down, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's normally something to do with the idle circuit.
So I thought, right, I need to stop throwing money at this, because it was getting a bit out of hand, and just take it to someone. Okay. And kind of, admit defeat.
Okay. So your plan today is you're going to kick around.
Yeah. And I can. I said I'll wait to obviously hear what you say, but I can stay tomorrow as well if needs be, or if you're saying it's going to be it's going to be. I mean,
ideally you want an answer tonight, don't you? One way or the other, even if you're going to have to wait tomorrow for it to be. I've got to order some bits or something for tomorrow. Yeah. Then okay. Better pull my finger out then. Okay. Nothing like a bit of a challenge and being against the clock. So first startup, let's have a listen to it. Choke. that sounds absolutely lovely. So looking for little tells all the time. So my initial thought then was, didn't want to take any, I'm just talking out loud guys, excuse me. Right, it sounds absolutely perfect, like that. Let's let it warm up a bit before I start revving the nuts out of it. So number one rule, as always, you've got to be able to replicate the fault. In this instance, I don't think that's going to be difficult, the way the guy was describing the problem, but if you're doing any fault diagnosis work, got to be able to replicate the problem. Right, while that's warming up, I'm going to set up a camera on the tank so we can go and have a road test, or somewhere. Now then, where am I going to clamp this to? We'll put it, let's get a little bit of rag, I think. A little lens cloth. We don't want to be scratching anything, even though my little clampy's got rubber jaws on it. Oh God, I don't think that's going to work, is it? Or is it? I think the problem with that is all you're going to see is the bloody screen. What about on that handlebar? I can live with that if you can. That sort of sounds normal to me. Let's get me hat on and go and have a ride. Sort of view have you guys got? Oh, that's not too bad, is it? That'll do, donkey! Right, first observation is, now it's warmed up a bit, it's idling a bit high, and there's a little bit of a hunt to it. And the fuel light's on. Let's see how much fuel's in it. Oh, there's nothing there. We're only going down the road once. Yeah, idle's a bit high, which is, you know, that's a nothing. That's just a little adjusty screw down here. Right, let's go see. She's a peach. Okay. It's not right, just coming off idle and with a bit of load on it. Yeah, that's rough. It feels, it's dropping a cylinder off there. See, it feels a bit three-cylindery initially. Can you hear that? I don't know whether you can or not. Camera's bouncing around like crazy. Hopefully you can see okay. It's about to rain, which alarms me. It would be criminal to get this thing wet. We haven't got to go far though. We'll just, you know, if you've watched me, you know my road test route. We'll just go to the bottom of the road here and then give it a squirt. Turn around and come back. I just need to get a sense of direction. You know, you're thinking, you're always back to basics with this sort of thing, so you're thinking mechanical, compression, etc. Not going to be that. I'll never say never. Been burnt there, as you know. Fuel or ignition. And I think based on the story we've got of it standing, and then he's been through the carbs. Sorry, just noticed something else too. There's loads of play in the throttle cables. That's a bit annoying. Yeah, it's highly likely carburation. I just want to get a feel for it. there goes me goggles. Well, it felt okay then. Did I lose my goggles completely, or are they hanging by a thread? Oh, they're hanging by a thread. This is a great road test lid, but it's not really built for going fast. In fact, let's put them down, shall we? So I don't lose them. Okay. Yeah, it's got a bogginess as you come off. To get it on the main road, I can't really. This bit of road is not safe to be opening up an R1 on. Going on here then? Oh, a nifty lift. Right. Yeah, that idle is definitely hunty, and it doesn't want to come. That first bit of throttle, as you crack the throttle and start sort of on the bite point of the clutch, is a real juddery misfire. Alright, let's see. That's going to be hard for you guys to hear or feel that, but there's a distinctive, as you get on the load, it's not revving cleanly, there's a distinctive misfire. These things, even by modern standards, are so fucking fast that problems like this, you know, they're hard to road test. You need a dyno really. Let's get on this other big straight bit of road around this corner. Fucking lot of wind noise. The wind's coming straight off here, right under my chin, so you can probably not hardly hear me. Right, can't get to my indicator switch. Let's indicate. He's turning. Let's get ahead of him. Right, this bit of road here is my best opportunity. Let's short shift like into third and then just wind it on. Okay, you're not going to be able to feel that, but a horrible misfire right there. That's right open throttle, guys. Okay, let me slow down so you can hear me. That was wide open throttle, that last bit there. Just judder, just didn't want to pull clean at all. Okay. It feels a little bit electrical. It feels a little bit secondary ignition like, but my spider senses are saying carburation. Now he did say that it would do it just at a standstill, you know, not in gear. When you were just revving it, it wouldn't rev. So what I'm going to do, let's get back in the workshop. I'm going to put the gas analyzer in the exhaust. Let's see if that'll give us some direction. That'll give us a clue. I'm fairly sure the carbs are coming off this thing, but yeah, not 100% certain at this point. Right, I'll see you back in the workshop. Okay, back in the workshop. She's lean at idle, and what I can't seem to do is to get it to misfire just revving it freely like this. It's know, it just takes off like a rocket. As I first crack the throttle, the very, very first bit of throttle, is that in focus? Now it is. Yeah, it's a little bit misfirey there. Oh, look at that. It's leaning right out. Okay. Right, I think based on that, carb's off. And based on the information we've got from the customer, which is also really important, you know, when did it start happening, what's the situation leading up to the problem, you know, there's a lot of important questions. We know it's, the carbs have been gone through. I'm not saying the customer's done anything wrong, but I think he was on the right lines. But I think it's carburation related based on these numbers, based on the way it feels, based on the information we've got. Waffling. Right, let's rip into this, get the carbs off it. I spotted the first serious issue. That is the bolt that should be holding the airbox down. By the looks of things, I wonder if the bolt that should be holding the tank down is holding the airbox down. That's upsetting for my OCD. Nope, it looks like it's got the right airbox bolt in it. Tank bolts MIA. We'll have to fix that. The purists won't like it not having the right bolt in, and neither will I. First observation, pretty sure it's not relevant to the issues we're having, but there are two pipes that go to, they're the breathers for the diaphragms. They should both go to this T-piece, and this T-piece plugs into this little catch tank thing here. One of them is plugged into the correct place. The other one, the other outlet on this T, has the drain for the airbox going to it, and then this one is just hanging around in atmosphere. Don't think that's an issue, because this pipe also vents to atmosphere that way. So yeah, just been put together wrong. Thought I'd mention that. Sorry, Mr. Owner, I'm not criticising you. It is kind of complicated under here, and if you're not really familiar, it can be a bit confusing. Right, let's get the carbs apart. Right, let's see what we got going on here then. Assuming this will all come apart nice and easily, given that it's recently been apart. Okay, let's have a look then, shall we? Cheap float bowl gaskets, this is what happens, look. That ain't ever going back in there. Great quality rubber they're made of. We can see they have been, you'll see as the fuel dries, there's like a green sheen to the float bowl. So they've had, you know, there's varnish contamination going on. Okay. Right, where are we set here? Yeah, they're perfect, just over 3 turns out. So my spider senses are telling me there's probably a couple of things going on with these carburetors, so hang on, I've got to concentrate, I can't speak and turn a screw at the same time and count. My spider senses are telling me probably a few things going on with these carbs. The way, well, it's lean at idle, which suggests, you know, some varnish contamination in the idle circuit, not the jet, but in the passageway and in the, I'll show you if I can get a close-up, in the little, so there's some transition holes. It's hard, I'll show you. In fact, I'll flash a picture on the screen now. So there's some, as the, as the butterfly opens, and it starts to transition from getting its fuel from the idle circuit to getting its fuel through the needle jet, there are some little drillings in the carb body that, as that butterfly just starts to crack open, it exposes these holes and it pulls fuel from the idle circuit through those extra little holes, and it just fills in at what would ordinarily be a lean spot before it got onto the needle. And as when I was riding and I was just starting to crack the throttle and it was missing, it's often that those transition holes are dirty, and just as you start to get on the throttle, it leans out a lot, and that was sort of evident on the gas analyzer just on the bench. As you started to open the throttle, it seemed to lean out slightly. I think there's something going on there with the idle circuit, and these things, I've mentioned this before in the past, but these things are common to have the air jet block up, and that is going to affect that mid-range where we're getting the misfire. But it's two separate problems. It could be that it's overly rich in the mid-range, causing that misfire. Should probably take the plugs out and have a look actually, and look at look down in the exhaust pipe. But I digress. So it could be that there's sort of two separate things. It could be lean in one spot and then overly rich in the other. It's not quite as straightforward often as you might think. God, I'm waffling. Right, so I've got 4 springs, I've got 4 mixture screws, I've only got 1 washer and 1 O-ring. So I have a fisher down in here. There's a washer and an O-ring. There's another one in there, I can see it. There's the washer. There's the O-ring. Same in this one here. There we go, washer and O-ring. Right, they're all accounted for. Right, let's get these pilot jets out. Not expecting there to be any blockage, to be honest with you. Although they are going to get a soak in my special carb juice, and there'll probably be some varnish in them. They actually look a little bit blocked up, to be honest with you. I mean, it's going to be impossible for you to see, but once you've blown through them, yeah, I can see a tiny chink of daylight, but let me just get an airline, stand by. Yeah, that's better. You get fuel sitting in them and you hold them up to the light and you think, oh, that's blocked, but actually it's just, the wetness of the fuel making them appear blocked. What's the other one like? Yeah, that's fine. People think, oh, the jets are clean, carbs must be good. There's a bit more to it than just the jet. The jet is the sort of first bit in a whole system of passageways and drillings and all kinds of things that are going on. It's not just about blowing the jets out and then it's fine. I really need to replace that airline, it's leaky. You see how green these are going now they're drying? Yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to just turn into a carb clean, because obviously the guy's hanging around for me. I'm feeling the pressure a bit of getting this done so he can go home. What size are those? 8mm? Yes. Probably pay attention and look at the sizes, shouldn't I? 130s, that is correct for one of these. I have to use a magnifying glass though, because my eyesight is complete dog shit. Okay. Right, diaphragm's out. In fact, now we can get rid of that. Now we've got all the fuel out of them. Put a microfiber under them, just because. Well, diaphragms feel like they're in correctly. Get rid of those off there. I misspoke earlier, I just realised. Those two pipes I pulled off there and there, they're the vents for the diaphragm. Get into it. They're the atmospheric vents for underneath the diaphragm. The vents that I was talking about, that were, the hose was incorrectly placed. That's a float ball breather, not a diaphragm chamber breather. I can't see, they were both still vented to atmosphere, albeit in a slightly odd way, so I can't think that that would be causing an issue. You do see sometimes stuff that's got ram air. I remember the early, or the R6s from this era, they were ram air, and the just because of the way carburetors work, the breather for the float ball had to be the same pressure as the airbox. So the float ball breather connected to the bottom of the airbox, and if you left those pipes off, or they came off, you sort of get the symptoms that I'm getting now. It would lean out as the speed of the bike increased, and the pressure in the airbox built. You'd end up effectively blowing the fuel back down the emulsion tube, and it would get lean. Okay, I'm assuming this is all completely standard. Of course, we're not really looking for anything worn out because this bike's done so few miles. We need to inspect for split diaphragms and things, but I'm not expected to find anything. Okay, now then, let's have a gander at these air jets. So these air jets in the back here, one for the main circuit, one for the pilot circuit, we've talked about this in the past. They're common points of blockage on these, and I've talked about getting these screws out that are thread locked in and stuff. I'm not going to get into that now. So if the main air jet, which is that one on that side, was blocked, that would cause a rich condition. Let me just pull the plugs and have a look, because if it's rich, it should be, I'm not one for reading spark plugs particularly, but I think it should be blatantly obvious on the spark plugs, on the cylinder, that it's, that it's rich on. Let me pull the plugs and have a quick look. I think I might be heading off down the wrong rabbit hole. I mean, there's a slight difference, but it's more for the camera, it's more the way the light is reflecting off them. They don't look bad at all. If anything, that one and that one is looking a bit leaner than the other two. Okay, I was expecting to see a rich condition on those plugs. Oh, fucking me, really? Oh. Right, so here's what I'm thinking. What am I thinking? You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I need a cup of tea. Let me go and have a brew. I need brain food, and I'll be back in a minute. Right, cup of coffee, that always helps. So as I was making my coffee, I was having a little think about this. Top tip there, it's often really, really useful to just step away for a moment and make a brew and have a sit down and just not think about it, because then things pop into your head. Got a bit of a theory about what might be going on here, and I'll take you to the bike in a second and share it with you. So I've just been chasing down these air jets with carburetor cleaner. Talked about this before, but a good place to sort of chase your carb cleaner in with a carburetor is down the air jets, because they generally go everywhere. Slight differences in design with some carbs that have idle air cut-off diaphragms and stuff. It's slightly different then, but with these carburetors, certainly you can spray your carb cleaner down the air jets and then, you know, watch it come out through the different passageways. And particularly, did we talk about it? I think we did. You know, the 3 little drillings that are just fill in the fueling as the throttle starts to open. It's a great way of spraying your carb cleaner down and observing whether it's coming out of those 3 drillings or not. Anyway, waffleage. So they're all soaking in carb cleaner now. The jets are also in some carb juice. I have started to get, as I flush the carb cleaner through, I've started to get some brown, looks like sort of rusty residue coming out of the emulsion tube, the main jet circuit. So spraying down the air jet and it's coming out, and the carb cleaner isn't coming out clear, it's coming out sort of brown. So they definitely needed cleaning, and there's clearly an issue with the idle circuit with it being so lean. Anyway, I've got a theory as to why we've got this misfire. Let me take you to the bike. Right, here's my theory, and this is why it's important just to step away occasionally and just think on what you're doing. So this is one of the float bowl breathers here. This little T-piece goes between the carb bodies. It's nice and bendy, so you can just pull it out. Anyway, so that goes to this T, and in turn this T goes into this little catch tank down here. And then the other float bowl breather, which is this one, should go to this other side of the T. But instead, it's got this airbox drain pipe connected to it, okay? And I initially thought, well, this other one, this other float bowl breather was just dangling down to nowhere. But then I thought, well, hang on a minute. There are 2 pipes on the back of this airbox here. This one, this big fat one, and then there's another little stubby, and I definitely detached 2 pipes off the bottom of this airbox. And then I looked, paid more attention to the end of this float bowl breather, and that is the pipe that I pulled off the bottom of the airbox. So one of the float bowl breathers that does carburetor 2 and 3 has been going into the airbox. That is a massive no-no. Now, I know this isn't Ram Air, and with a Ram Air bike you would have your float bowl breathers. We were talking, weren't we, earlier on about the R6. You would have your float bowl breathers going into the airbox. I've never seen this happen before, and I'm wondering what an effect it would have. It's clearly going to affect the fueling if the float bowl isn't vented to atmosphere. Now technically, I know what you're thinking, well technically, Jim, the airbox is atmosphere, but actually it isn't, is it? Because the engine's drawing on it. It's probably a vacuum slightly, I would guess, as the revs increase. Because, yeah, without getting too into the theory, so if you had a vacuum above the, I'm trying to think as I'm talking, if you had a vacuum in the float bowl, I don't want to misspeak, it's clearly going to affect the fueling. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean those carburetors properly. I'm going to put them back together with some new genuine Yamaha float bowl gaskets. Let's get them back on here. Let's set the idle mixture with a gas analyzer, get a nice, and put the vacuum gauges on and balance them. Let's put all the pipes the right way round. Let's go and have a ride. I think, given that I've discovered this, that's the only direction we can go in now. So I'm going to get my head down, get the carbs back together. In fact, they've got to soak for a couple of hours. I've got plenty of other things to be getting on with. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering what that beeping is, I know it's annoying. It's got a data tool alarm on it. I don't even hear it anymore. I hear it in the edit when I'm editing the video, not when I'm actually next to the bike, which is a bit weird. Okay, waffleage, let me get these carbs together and I'll bring you back in when it's running. I'll show you the, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Right, see you in a bit. Okay, carbs back on. Balance, tiny little bit of adjustment needed, but that was fine. And then idle mixture. Bit of reflection there, isn't there? And then that's the idle mixture. If I just start to crack the throttle, you'll notice now it gets slightly richer, which is exactly what you want to see, as opposed to getting leaner. Right, got a reasonably smooth idle. In fact, I've got a very smooth idle. Let's go and have a ride. Okay guys, I almost don't want to ride it. I don't want to find out that I haven't fixed it. Okay. Right. Contact. You'll be pleased to hear it's got the right Allen bolt in the tank there now. I discovered that one of the seat bolts is missing that holds the rider's seat down, because they're like a black zinc originally. One of those is black, one of them's the shiny screw. I think one of the seat screws is the what should be in the tank here. Anyway, I've got the, it's not an original Yamaha one, but it's a little stainless one that looks identical. Okay, I'm stalling, let's go. So initially, what's that pull away like? Oh, that's much nicer, much cleaner. Oh yes, that's better. Okay. Well, at least taking the carbs off wasn't a complete, let's put my goggles down this time, a complete waste of time, even if we've still got a misfire. Yeah, that first bit of throttle feels much stronger. I'll know pretty much immediately, because although there was a very sort of pronounced misfire, it just felt flat and woolly and didn't, these things pull like an absolute steam train when they're right, and it just wasn't making power. It feels nicer just on that, you know, I've just got the throttle cracked 25 mile an hour, just a little, you know, not a cruise, but you know what I'm saying. Just feels smoother. Let's just give it a little squirt by here. Oh, that feels much better. Fucking hell, don't get carried away, Jim Bob. Yeah, okay, I think we might be in business, guys. I think we fixed it! The front wheel just came off the ground! Alright, yeah, fucking hell, it's a different bike to ride. That feels really smooth and really strong. Oh, that makes me happy. I'm going to go all the way around the block though. See what the idle's like. This is my idle testing junction here. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay, nice crisp throttle. Let's get ahead of this car that's coming. Oh, fuck me, that's better. Get tucked in, eh? Okay. That's enough of that silly business. That is officially fixed. Can you Adam and Eve it, guys? Getting one pipe the wrong way round caused this guy all the problems he's been having, caused him to have to drive 800 mile round trip I mean, he didn't have to do that. He chose to bring it to me because he couldn't find anybody local that he trusted. Yeah, the devil is in the detail, isn't it? You've really got to pay attention to the small stuff. And then it wasn't a waste of time getting those carbs off and giving them a bit of a, can't speak, giving them a bit of a clean out, because we've really improved that fueling low down. So it's a win-win. We will call that the end of this video. It's all going to be one part, this one, even if it is quite a long one. I'll see you on the other side. Remember, if you want to join in the conversation, look in the description. There's a link to my Patreon. You become a patron and then you get access to the Discord, which gives you, well, I think the best motorcycle repair group on the planet. Loads of free service information, loads of cool people that do it for a living, all happy to give you advice and help. If you're you don't need to be a professional repairer, you're just a keen DIYer. It's a great place to hang out. Anyway, that's me out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. Fucking hell, big piece of wood in the road there. See you soon.